Hello everyone, my name is Saksham Dikshit and this is my channel Pentest Diaries. So today I'll make another video on the same series of Solidity programming series, and in this I'll try to cover a concept which we call it as a mapping in Solidity. So what exactly the mapping is and everything I'll try to get it covered in this video itself, and we'll start with the theory part first and then we'll go to the practical section. So in the theory part itself, if we just talking about what is the mapping, so it's understood like something we try to get it map. Okay, so what's the concept of the mapping is? In Solidity, mapping is a data structure used to store key value pairs. So there is a key, we are defining it in the mapping, and there is a value. So in front of the key itself, the mapping key value will be get it mapped. That we call it as a mapping itself. So once again I'm reading it. So mapping is a data structure used to store key value pairs, somewhat similar to dictionary or hash map in other programming language. So it's similar like that what we having in case of key pair or in other programming language itself. It's similar like that. A dictionary also, where we have some word and we have the meaning in front of that, it's similar like that only. So we can call it as mapping is a data structure used to store key value pairs itself, somewhat like a dictionary itself, where we have the word and the meaning in front of that itself. Mapping can be used with various data types as key and the values, including other mapping or custom data structure itself. So that's all about that theory part itself. It's nothing we have to think about the mapping much about it, but how we can utilize it. I have prepared 3 codes for it, by which you can able to understand how exactly the mapping can be utilized in a code itself. And we just have to understand only one thing: there is a key and there is a value that should be getting mapped. That's the only thing, we just have to remember it. Okay, now we go to the system and just see the code. So as we discuss about the code itself, so this is the first code in the mapping in Solidity itself. So we're just talking about the syntax itself. This is a straightforward same syntax which we are using it from the previous code itself. And now this is the name of the contract. Now this is the actual code which we have to get it defined. So this is a simple mapping smart contract. I have built it from my side, and in this the mapping is the keyword which we have to use it. Here we have to define it. What type of data type is it? So we just have to get it defined. This is the data type itself, we have to get it defined, and here itself we just have to get it define it over there itself as a value itself. Okay, now we just have to get it defined like what actually the name of it. So the name also we have to make it very clear over here itself, so that should be very clear over here. So the name of the variable which we are making over there itself, a data type which we call it as a roll number. So this is the actual variable name itself, and this is the syntax which we have to get it defined. So it may be get it varied like in later phase itself when we are seeing the code number 2 and code number 1 itself and 2, and in that case this will be get it changed. Now we'll proceed further with the next section for it, which is a function, where we have to define it a function name as a setter, and over there itself we just giving 2 inputs from our side, one as a keys and one as a value. Okay, so everything is all around between the keys and the values only. So the keys value should be unsigned integer itself, and in case of values it should be string. Okay, so that was the reason behind it. We are giving, there's nothing like a returns, we are doing it over here. Now going inside of it, as we have defined it a data type over here itself, so we simply have to use it over here itself, and whatever the value we give it as a key, that should be a pointer, and whatever the value we are giving over there itself, that's a value we are taking it over here itself. So if we compile the code, let me compile it. Once we compile it, and now we deployed that code and the smart contract is deployed. Now I'm just going over here itself, we just have to give 2 values, one as a key and one as a value itself. Okay, so now what we have to do, there is a string value and there is a number itself. So what I'll do, I'll just define it first as a key, so that is 23. I'll give it from my side, and then I'll put comma, then I'll give the value as Sam, and I'll click on setter. So this will be done. Now over here itself, just to check for it, I'll simply have to put the roll number as 23, and I can see I'm getting that pointer as Sam. So over here we'll just simply put the key over here itself just to check that, and the value we can get it directly itself. So that's all about the stuff in the first code itself of the mapping, how exactly the mapping is working over there itself. Now we move to the next code. So So if we're talking about the next code itself, let me delete the output for the previous one. And if we're talking about the next code itself, so in this straightforward syntax which we're using it over here, the contract name is mapping. And now we talking about the next section for it. So we are using two functions inside of it, and this is the straightforward that mapping syntax which we are using it over here. The name over here itself, which we can see, name of the variable, we can see it's emp underscore id, and this is the thing which we are making as a pointer itself from our side. Now if we go inside of the function, we just make it a function, and the function name is set IDs. It's public, and when we go inside of it, we can see these are the things we are predefined, put it from our side. Okay, so if anyone is putting a value key as 31, then in that case the value will be Gaurav. If we're talking about 27 is the key, and then value will be Aman. So similar like that, 5 inputs I have put it from my side. This is inside of this function. Now we're talking about the next function where we can retrieve something, that is we call it as a get id. So over here itself we simply have to put that value itself. So whatever that id value which we have defined over here itself, we simply have to put it and we'll get that output in such a way itself. So this will return this one, and automatically we get the output accordingly. Okay, we'll see that. And the reverse itself, like in the return we are getting the value, so whatever the values get it defined over here itself, it's get it written. That was the reason we are returning the value of it in a memory format. Okay, now let me compile the code and let me deploy it. If I'll try to run it in such a way itself, and I'll just put it 31 first and employee ID, I'll see that nothing is over here itself. Okay, if I'll try to see 31 over here itself, get ID, nothing is working over there itself. Okay, right now nothing is over there itself, as in employee ID nothing is there, as in case of over here itself employee ID itself nothing is there itself, in get ID nothing is there itself, as we have not set anything. Once I'll click on the set IDs, if I'll try to click on 31 once again, I can see it's Gaurav. If I'll try to see the get ID once again, I can see the Gaurav itself. So after clicking on the set ID only, the values will be getting assigned to this. Till then there is nothing inside of this and nothing is inside of this itself. Okay, so that is actually with the code itself, where we have to set the values from our side and then we are trying to retrieve that. That's the purpose of the mapping itself. Now we are moving to the next code. So over here itself there is a twist. This is the advanced mapping, I can say that, where we are defining a structure also outside of it, outside the contract. We are defining that, and we'll try to import that over here itself. Okay, that you can see over there, we try to map it over here itself, and this is the account. So I'll just make you understand once again. This is the thing which we are able to understand. This is the structure we are defining. If you have already attended the lecture which I have prepared on the basis of the structure, then you can able to understand what actually the structure is it. So that's a user defined data type itself. So you can go through it. If you are not attended that lecture, please attend that lecture first, and then you can able to understand. So we are defining the structure over here itself. Then after that we are going inside of it. The contract name is advanced mapping. Then we go inside of it. This is a syntax from that only. So over here itself we are defining a syntax as the address, as we are giving a inputs as the address itself. That was the reason we just taking as a input. I can say that a mapping will be getting defined for the address itself. So over here itself the data type is the address, and this is the struct name over here itself, structure name itself we are defining over here itself, and the variable name we are defining over here itself. Now there are two functions, one function for the set and one for the delete itself. For the set function we are giving an input from our side for all these sections, for the name, for the age, and this is for the add itself, for the down itself. So these things we are giving it from our side, and this is strings one. Okay, once we get it defined, it's get it assigned over there inside of the account itself. Okay, as we have account info itself, so inside of the message or sender itself everything is get it assigned. So message or sender, whatever the address we are defining over there when we are deploying it, that is the address over there itself for the msg.sender. That's the address. On that address everything is get it stored over there itself. Okay, once it's get stored we try to get it delete, we simply have to click on delete info, and everything whatever get it assigned to message.sender is getting deleted. Now let me compile this code and get it deployed there, and then you can able to understand this. Okay, let me deploy this. If I'll try to open it, so initially if I'll try to define anything for my side, so a lot of things to be get it defined. Let me check. So if I'll try to open it, this will be added open. Okay, let me give it as John, age will be 23, at will be 20, and on will be 20. Now if I'll click on the transact, okay, this is done. If I'll try to see the account info, so for that what we have to do, we simply have to copy this account address, and now I'll put it over here itself and click on account info. I can able to see that. So from wheresoever we did the transaction itself, through that account only we can retrieve that information, whatever we have tried to map it using a mapping. We have tried to map it, we can get the details about it. So that's all about the stuff. I know that a little bit confusion in this mapping concept itself, but I think if you have to go through the video once again itself, and even I wanted that you have to get it explore, not only everything you get through my tutorials only, either you have to go explore the documentation of the Solidity so that you can get more details about it. Like there are few concepts I'll just try to get it explain you, but just to know a lot of things about it, you should have to go for the documentation of the Solidity so that you can get the more details about it. So don't rely only on the tutorials where we have to I just want to cover each and everything. That's not possible for me, but I'll just give it a flavor of it. And once you are having any doubt itself, just go to the documentation. Even still you're not able to understand, just let me know about it in the comment section of this video. I'll try to make that for you. But the thing is that make sure that you have a habit to read the documentation. It's easy for you to understand that. Okay, so if you like this video, please subscribe my channel. Thank you so much once again. Take care. Bye bye.